We're here with UTV Outlaws. We got a couple inner clutch housings we're replacing on both of our machines. We got Tim here is doing the work, and I'm going to be primarily doing most of the recording. So if you come down here, you can see she's missing a good chunk of housing down here. So we're going to do a little tutorial video on changing this. We looked around, we didn't find much on the internet, so figured we'd go ahead and see what we can do with it. Alright, so getting started on this, you're going to need a primary puller. You're going to need your tool that comes in your Polaris toolkit. Yep.
Remove the belt. Once you get the belt removed, you'll pull your primary and secondary. You just throw this out the way.
There you go.
And take this back out.
Now we'll start working on pulling the primary. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start pulling the secondary here.
Need a 15mm socket. Go ahead and remove this bolt. You'll need to remove the snap ring for our snap ring pliers.
Make sure to keep everything in order.
Ooh, she's kind of dirty. Got some belt in there.
Oh yeah.
Kill the belt.
Alright, now we're going to pull the primary.
We need a 21mm socket and extension. You slide this bolt and the washers out, keep it all together. Then you'll need your primary puller. You get online.
Don't make my mistake. Make sure you get a decent one.
Put some grease on the thread so it goes nice and smooth.
So we actually couldn't get the puller to go through. We got to remove this shield right here. So it's got three little screws holding it together. So. Alright, so we took that shield off there. Now the tool slides right through. I pulled this thing a few times. I've tried to hydraulic press. Didn't have much luck with it.
Well, it's going to be a 22mm socket for this puller. Can't even get on it without an extension.
So now that we removed the shock shield, we can go ahead and put the puller in.
Get it started. This primary puller, take the 22mm socket.
I tried hydraulically pressing these before. I didn't have much luck. So best case scenario I found is just running it in with an impact. Maybe giving it a couple taps with a 3-pound beater.
And there she be. Maybe go through it this winter and clean them up and replace some wearable parts. Got that probably in for both of our machines.
Alright Tim, so explain what's going on here.
Alright, so get extension in a 10mm socket, and you're going to go ahead and remove these 3 bolts here, which we can do now. Oops.
Seen a Loctite coming out of those?
Yeah, when you put these back, you gotta have thread lock.
Those are the 3 that were notorious for the early 17s and the 2016 models backing out and causing problems.
So now you need a T45 Torx, and you pull this one, and this one. Which might be a pain.
Look, those got thread lock in them too.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right, here on the back side of the motor, we got a couple that we're gonna have to hold.
So they got nuts. It's a 15mm nut on these 2 up here. There's one right here. Can you see in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one. And then way up in there is another one. Those are 15s. You have to get a wrench on that one. You can get a socket on this one. And then you got these 2 16 that are, I believe those aren't 16s.
All right, so this is on the back side of the motor. You got 2 bolts right here. You're gonna have to put a wrench on these or socket on these. And then you got 2
15mm.
And you got these 2 right here.
And you got this 18.
Move that hose toward the outside of the machine. That one right there.
Got those 2 18s.
Yep. So you got to hold all 4 of these and then zip those last couple bolts out.
All right, so we got these 2, which I believe are 15s. Yes, they are. And then you got these 2, which are 16s.
And those are your 4 bolts that were on the back side of the motor.
This is your transmission mount. And you have to pull the nut off on the back side. You can hold a socket or a wrench. And then these 2 as well. This one's a pain. This one's not so bad. You can get an extension and a socket on it.
It'll be easier with 2 people. Probably doable with 1. So on the back side, the top 15mm bolt, or I guess this would be the nut side, we got to put a wrench on it. Looks like the rest of them we can get to them with a ratchet, but this is just showing you the angle that we had to go on to get it to crack loose. All right, so we're ready to go. We got the wrench on this back side, very top bolt. Ready? Second. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I got my end. You good?
Yeah, I'm just trying to feed this wrench out here.
We'll do this back one. 15 as well.
Okay, go ahead.
Good?
Yep.
Go and pull that bolt up. Got it. Okay, now this front side is a 16 at your upper transmission mount, and the other side, the nut is an 18.
Good on my side?
Good?
Yep.
Okay, there's that one. Long sucker.
She said.
Alright, I'm on the bottom, last one.
Okay, go ahead.
transmission drops a little bit. And there's your last long one. Now, we should carefully be able to, there's one clip here, one clip there, and then this should slide out. Two clips, and we're off. And you can see that we tried to JB weld it last year. It was just a little crack, and then we lost another belt, and unfortunately it killed it the rest of the way. There is a seal here. It's just a piece of foam. And got a nice new one, no cracks, ready to go. Kind of pricey. Alright, so this seal is like foam, and it glues down to the aluminum case, and we started it with this regular razor blade, got in there, pulled it back, and we're just walking it back with our finger, and seems to be coming out good. And then our plan is to, see there, it's just glued down, not damaged. We'll clean it up, and we're gonna glue it back into the new one. And so for now, we can just set that off to the side. You're gonna need a 4mm to get these two off. Okay, one. There's two. Now this should just rock back. Oh, yeah, these tabs hold it onto these brackets. Once you get that out of the way, you can, these are two Torx. Don't know offhand. Okay, so you use a T25 Torx. Crack those loose. Ooh. And then next we're gonna go over here to the engine, and we're gonna take the air compressor and blow all the sand and stuff, because this thing's a sand pounder for sure. Probably. Alright, so we went ahead and blew this off some with compressed air. So you got to make sure that once you assemble your tube, your discharge tube back onto the top of the housing, that you stick it through here, and that you do not pinch these wires in the back behind the case. So you'll go right through here and this back over, and then this will connect back into the top of the tube. There's a slot where it just crimps on there. This is the two snap-in clips. They just pop in, pop them out, and yeah. Alright, so I took this seal and I blew it off. It had some sand on it. Now we're just going to put some couple drips of glue on it. It's still sticky, so shouldn't be bad. And then we're just going to set her back down in the new one. Some Gorilla super glue. It should work pretty good. Alright, so here we go. Try this again. You might have to go up top and check and make sure that you're not pinching those wires. Those lay down. This goes back through here. Like so. Looks pretty good. We're off a little bit, so you have to take a screwdriver or something and go over on the other side and lift up on the transmission a little bit to get the big bolts back in. And that's where we're at now. So let's see if I can gather one. We'll go with this big guy. Yeah, now we'll have to go on the other side and line her up, because I don't think I can do it. I'm in the bottom one.
All right.
Or no, I'm in the top one on that side, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Lift up. Alright. You through?
Yep.
Okay, now let me try this next one.
Go the other way with it. There you go.
I got it. You gotta lift up on the front drive shaft yoke right here on the transmission, and slides right through. Now I'm gonna go ahead and push the other bolts through, which are your
Those looking.
12-15s. Those went right in. I want to go ahead and get everything hand started, which we're gonna need some thread lock, which maybe we should. We'll go ahead and we'll get the nuts on the back side of the transmission, and then we'll come back and thread lock these last bolts, and we should be ready to roll. Alright, so we pulled out these two transmission bolts to make it easier lining these front ones up. We need to line these front ones up first. We were told that you could do it that way. So all these bolts are just getting snugged up by hand. You have to use thread lock on the bolts, not the ones with the nuts. Look up your torque specs, so we're not responsible. So I'm just trying to snug all these down. Once they're snugged down, and we'll go ahead and torque them, and then we'll go on to the next set of bolts. So we use pry bar, put a rag here on the frame so you don't mar it all up unless you don't care. Sometimes the dealer don't even care, but slide these bolts back through. Okay, these are just hand snug. We're going to go ahead and put the nuts on the back side of these and torque all the bolts down, and we will be right back. Alright, so we got all these bolts torqued back down. We found a Polaris repair manual with torque specs, so we will leave that in a link or description. So you guys can have the torque specs there, torque it down. We need to go ahead and pop these clips in and hold these two wires. There's one. There's two. Make sure your wires move on the back side. Everything's, moves freely. Everything else is hooked back up. On this upper bolt here on the back side, I think it's a 16 millimeter or 15. I think it's a 16. On the back side, you can use a crow's foot and an extension and get in there, and it makes it a lot easier getting it off and back on.
You could probably still get it with a wrench, but it just makes life a little easier.
Yeah, so now we're getting ready to clean up primary and secondary and put them back on. And yeah. Alright, so we got the clutches torqued. Everything's back on. We're going to put this belt back on. Roll to the front. Hit the bottom. Alright.
I'd say overall wasn't too bad.
No. pretty nice. There she be. Alright, so we just got done buttoning this up. Everything's torqued down. Clutch cover's on. I'm going to go out and take it for a rip. See how it is. Like and subscribe. Turn your notifications on. Comment. Let us know, what type of videos you would like to see. What type of parts you'd like to see installed. Different stuff like that. Thanks. Have a nice day.